It's gonna be a dusty job today. All right, we're back here out at the big project today, and we got some exciting stuff going on. We're finally starting to make some progress because the weather is, well, we're hoping that this is going to be the last huge stretch of heat that we have. So still extremely dry, and I think so far I'll show you here today as well. You can get a sense of how dry it is here as we're using this Bobcat to kind of level out everything today and make it look all nice and smooth before we put down the seed. Today we're using a Harley rake on the Bobcat, and what that does is really smooth things out while it cultivates the soil. Now typically in a home situation, I usually wouldn't till things just because it tends to bring up a lot of weed seeds, but when you're dealing with this acreage out here, a lot of unevenness and a lot of bumpiness that's never had a yard in it before, then you kind of have to do this one time here to get everything smooth, and this Harley rake works exceptionally well at doing that. So Paul actually took a disc on a tractor as well on all of this stuff out here. It's all cleaned up. It looks fantastic. So we're going to focus on actually watering the stuff around the house, and then also we're hoping that we get some rain here and probably do some dormant seeding as well before wintertime comes to get the best possible outcome going into next spring. So Paul actually has a skid steer, but he did just go ahead and rent that Harley rake. I'm not sure exactly what the price was on rental, but I don't think it was too bad for a day, so that could be an option for you. Or you could rent probably the whole machine together, skid steer and that, if you needed to do a big area like this. We also got the soil test back that I sent in for this out here. Actually, things look pretty good, really straight on as far as pH, which is a good thing. And it just needs a lot more nutrients, as we kind of talked about in the first video where I was talking about taking the soil test, but really pretty good starting point here as far as the soil test goes. So we're moving right along with the plan and excited to get this seed actually down and see something grow. As long as we drag across here to get things flattened out after that machine. So you can see here the difference on what it looked like before with some of that dead grass still mixed in, and then over to what it looks like now. All right, so here's where we ended up today after we did that dragging. There's still some of this stuff here, some of this kind of dead stuff that was down in the yard that's come back up. For the most part, this thing is looking really nice and flat, and the seed bed is looking good. Pretty much all the major bumps came out of there, so can't be too disappointed in that. It worked really, really well. Totally worth renting that thing, and I would highly suggest it, especially if you've never had a yard before. Wherever you're working with, it's probably gonna be pretty bumpy, so it's worth it to try to make it as flat as you can here at the beginning. Paul just got done spreading some fertilizer. I didn't make it out here in time to get some footage of that. And he got one of these little fertilizer buggies here locally, just from like a co-op. And that worked really well to get a large area done quickly, and also he can just get the fertilizer with it. So we put down a 19 because looking at that soil test, we needed some nutrients pretty much overall, and that's a good sort of balanced fertilizer just for when you're putting down seed, and make sure you have that phosphorus aspect in there. So 19 in general is a good fertilizer if you're looking for a balanced approach. The one nice thing too about like these acreage properties is that a lot of times there's some sort of co-op or farm sort of place that you can go locally where you can get that fertilizer, and when you're buying it in bulk, it becomes quite a bit cheaper than if you're a homeowner just buying it in bags. The seed that we're going to be using, this is a tall fescue mix that I've used before in my other project as well, and this is good stuff. It's a certified seed, of course, that you always want to look for. And then we have 0% other crop, 0% weed seed, no noxious weeds in there. Those are all things to look at on the label. This is a good tall fescue mix, which also has a little bit of bluegrass in there just for a little bit more spread. Paul picked up one of these spreaders here locally. It's really well made. It's got, you know, the pneumatic tires on it. It's nice. So now trying to figure out the exact amount of spread on here. You know, you can go through all the calculations and try to do it, but really what I want to do is start at a low setting, and I would rather just spread over this more times if I have to. but I want an even spread, and I'm going to start low, and then once I see how much coverage I'm going to get, I just want a nice even coverage over everything, not too heavy in any areas, but not too light. Of course, there's different ways that you could do this seeding. You know, broadcasting it is just one way, but we have such a loose soil here after we did all of that tilling that it would be kind of hard to drill seed into the soil. There are different ways though that you can do that. You can get sort of a machine that will do that for you, where it will place the seed into the soil just very lightly under that layer. So there's different options here. This is just kind of what we went with for budget wise and all that at this point. So I was having a little trouble getting consistent flow out of this thing, but what we found actually was that there's a little screen that goes down in the bottom of here, and we took that out because I think what was happening was most of the seed was sitting on top of that screen and it wasn't really going all the way down and coming out evenly. But now we fixed that though, it's coming out evenly, and I've got it set right about at a 5, right at the middle, and that seems to be flowing really well. So for the areas around the house and just kind of those tight corners and things, it's kind of nice to actually just use a regular spreader. You can of course use the 4-wheeler and that spreader, but to get into the tight spots and try to get even coverage becomes more difficult. And I'm going to at least do the front section here, kind of by the house with that, and any of the other tighter areas that we think we might have a little issue there. Okay, so what's the last piece in this puzzle here? Well, that would actually be trying to find a way to cover this seed, if at all possible. Now, on a huge area like this, most likely most people are not going to have the budget to cover an entire area. Now, a couple options that you could do, probably the absolute best option would be hydro mulch or hydro seeding the whole area that you wanted to do in general. But if you have the seed down, you can actually have the hydro mulch sprayed on top of that, and then that would hold in some moisture whenever we would get some rains. And so this is what they do on like a highway project or something where they have put the seed down and they need just natural irrigation to actually have the seed grow in. So hydro mulch would probably be the absolute best thing you could do, but it's very expensive, so most people probably are not going to have that in their budget. The other thing that you could do would be consider putting down some straw. So Paul decided to place some straw in the main areas around his house, and that way he can try to water that part himself and get some actual grass growing in those areas. So if you wanted to cover that whole area with straw, there's actually some rental machines that you can get that will disperse that straw for you, but again, another added cost, so it depends on what your budget is looking like after all this huge project that you just did. Now, speaking of a large project like this, I've been getting more and more questions about simple lawn products, and are they available in larger sizes for maybe an acreage or something of this size. So the box that I have is more geared towards smaller yards and sort of the small homeowner type thing that you're doing. They are actually doing a sale right now, so you buy a gallon or a 2.5 and you get 40% off the next one. So it's a buy one, get a deal there. And you can also use my coupon code on top of this deal, so it's kind of like a little 2-for-1 thing there. So if you're interested in those larger sizes, this is going to be from this video right now through Labor Day. So check those links down in the description if you're looking for some of these larger sizes. Also, I decided that I've had my lawn guide on sale all year this year just because I've been very thankful for all the support that I've been getting from everyone, so I just decided to leave it on sale through this whole season. But I'm also running another sale, so it's a sale on top of a sale for the Labor Day weekend. So from now through Labor Day, you can get my lawn guide $9 off of the sale price. So it's a double sale down to $30 right now. So check that out if you're interested in this full lawn guide. Fall is the absolute best time to start working on your cool season lawn. So get that guide right now. You can check out all of the fall stuff and get a head start here on next season, because all the work you're going to do in the fall here is going to propel you into next spring as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be getting some progress as we have more progress here, hopefully. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.